feel this good on Ford Escort won't last much longer.
You're watching Channel 5.
The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
What's a Kentucky Derby favorite doing in a place like this? Shouldn't he be somewhere in the bluegrass or on the backstretch of an American racetrack making his preparations for the great event? Not this favorite, not Arazi, because Arazi, like Ben Franklin and Ernest Hemingway and a million GIs before him, is an American in Paris, a native of Kentucky, training where French kings kept their horses, kings like Louis XVI, after whom the city of Louisville, Kentucky is named. Arazi himself, well, he's of royal blood, the son of a European champion, blushing groom. The gallops at Chantilly are splendidly quiet normally, but this year journalists by the hundreds converged on the morning workouts to see him, to see Arazi. Now today, he returns to Kentucky. The training and the hype are over. It's time for the prodigal son to run the race of his life in the state of his birth. His owner is Alan Paulson, a red, white, and blue American, an Iowa farm boy who swept floors at age 13, now is the owner of Gulfstream Jets and a record-setting jet pilot. Paulson sold half interest in the horse to Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the dominant force in British racing, for a reported $9 million. Musical royalty is here today in the person of Hammer. He and his family hope to play the role of spoiler with their colt appropriately named Dance Floor. Jenny Craig, the czarina of the diet world, gave her husband a horse, Dr. Devious, instead of a high-calorie cake as a $2.5 million birthday present. So they come together, marvelously diverse in their geographical and cultural backgrounds, multimillionaires and backstretch dreamers, regally bred colts and sons of equine Cinderellas. They come to Louisville to challenge Arazi, to Louisville on the first Saturday in May for the most international running ever of the greatest race of all, the Kentucky Derby. Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. In our 31st year, this is ABC's Wide World of Sports. It's as familiar as a 4th of July picnic, but it never fails to impress us. The mammoth crowd gathered, 140,000 and more, under the twin spires of Churchill Downs. The spectators this year more than ever are from everywhere, from across the Atlantic, from across the Pacific, from across America, from Louisville and Lexington, New York and New Mexico, everywhere. For many of them, it's their first and perhaps their only trip to this event. Others have been coming from childhood to old age. All have come for one purpose, as you and we have, to celebrate an annual occasion in all our lives. From Churchill Downs in Louisville, it's the Kentucky Derby, the first leg of the Chrysler Triple Crown Challenge. Well, good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay. It's impossible for one competitor to overshadow the Kentucky Derby itself, but Arazi comes close. This smallish colt, Kentucky-born, French-trained and raced, has captured the attention of the world. Some 16 countries are taking our picture from here today. He arrived by jet last Sunday, greeted by the sort of attention usually reserved for visiting kings or presidents. Arazi, you know, combines a talent that may mark him as one of the sport's greatest competitors with an air of mystery that creates just enough doubt to make it very exciting. He was tremendous in last fall's Breeders' Cup. But what about the knee operation since then? The 4 months off, the single prep race in France on grass against mediocre opposition. If Reggie Jackson was Mr. October, will Arazi be Monsieur May, or will the bubble burst here before our eyes at Churchill Downs? Arazi does have problems, a terrible post position, and 17 other horses to beat. He usually comes from behind, and that won't be easy against the likes of Bluegrass Stakes winner Pistols and Roses, or Florida Derby champion Technology, or Pine Bluff, the pride of Arkansas. The sad news here today is this. The colt, expected to be his top competitor, AP Indy, was scratched from the race this morning. AP Indy scratched. For more now on that and other subjects and everything about the race, let's go up on the roof, another annual habit of ours, to my ABC colleague, Al Michaels. Al?
Thank you, Jim. You know, right after that Breeders' Cup Juvenile last November, Arazi immediately became the French foreign legend. But in about an hour, will we be saying Viva l'Arazi? Or will this big field burn him and turn him into French toast? His owner, Alan Paulson, who made his money in aerospace, named him Arazi after a navigational checkpoint in Arizona. And it's appropriate because navigation is the key word today. This horse loves to come from behind. And the question becomes, how will Patrick Valenzuela on his back navigate him through this huge field? Will he weave him through or keep him to the outside and make sure he has enough to come through at the end as he did in the Breeders' Cup? It's a good thing Arazi can't read, because if he could, he would discover that the last 12 Kentucky Derby favorites have not won the race. Only 2 of them, in fact, have even been in the money, and the average finish of the favorite in the last dozen years has been 9th. So will he be Arazi Super Horse or Arazi Super Money Burner? Here are the particulars now for the Kentucky Derby. The purse is $974,000 plus. The winner will get about $715,000. Distance is 1.25 miles, which is 1/8 of a mile longer than most of the top prep races. The track here is fast. The temperature is in the upper 70s. There is rain 30 miles away, light rain, and the wind gusting up to 20 miles an hour, mainly out of the southwest at 14. Now the field. These are not the post positions. We'll have those for you later. These are the program numbers, the saddlecloth numbers. Wayne Lucas trains the entry of Al Sabine and Dance Floor. That's Hammer's horse, and they're 30-1. Technology is clearly the second choice at the moment at 7-2. Casual Eyes, who comes in from California, 25-1. Devil Is Due is 20-1. And from New York, Pistols and Roses won the Bluegrass 3 weeks ago. He's 11-1. The number 6 horse, Conte de Savoia, Leroy Jolly, saddled him to a second-place finish in Lexington 3 weeks ago, is 20-1. Lily T, 14-1. Pine Bluff, up from Arkansas, 11-1. Dr. Devious, shipping in from England at 19-1. We mentioned AP Indy, who would have been the second choice, was a scratch this morning. And Arazi, who began the day at 4-5 and then went to even money, is now 6-5. The rest of the horses are in the field. Take a look at those. There are 7. Snappy Landing, Thayer, Serpinder, West by West, Ecstatic Ride, My Luck Runs North, Disposal. You like any of those horses, you get them all on one ticket at 11-1. Meanwhile, AP Indy, a late scratch today, and we'll be getting to that story momentarily after we look at the bonus points from the Chrysler Triple Crown Challenge. First place is worth 10 points in this race and each of the Triple Crown races. 5 points for second, 3 for third, and 1 for fourth. The horse that accumulates the most points starting and finishing each race would earn $1 million. If a horse sweeps the Triple Crown, that is worth $5 million. AP Indy scratching this morning. He is trained by Neil Drysdale, a very disappointed man, and Neil is with our Charles C. Canty. Charles C.?
Well, the vagaries of thoroughbred racing were painfully apparent to Neil Drysdale this morning. Neil, what was the problem, and when did it become apparent to you?
Well, Charlie, yesterday morning, the horse was just showing a little discomfort. He had a super gallop, looked very good galloping. And then yesterday afternoon, a little bit more discomfort. So we realized we had a problem. And we think it's the foot. It appears to be the foot. We started to work on the foot yesterday, and we spent until midnight last night hot tubbing it and poulticing it and all the things that we need to do. And then Mr. Zuramaki arrived from Japan, and he's a very knowledgeable horseman. Also Mr. Nolo Callahan, his advisor. And so they decided we should make a decision in the morning, see how the horse was this morning. Dr. Kennedy and Dr. Hartill. Dr. Kennedy is from the Kentucky State Racing Commission. And they looked at the horse, felt that he's still not 100%. And Mr. Zuramaki then made a decision that for the well-being of the horse, not to race.
What is the prognosis for the Preakness?
I think it's a matter of how long the foot takes to clear up. I mean, it might just be a day or two, or it could be long. It just depends. It could be an abscess, and takes how long to come to a head.
Well, we share in your bitter disappointment, Neil.
Thank you.
Look for more soon from AP Indy, and now we'll go back to Al Michaels.
All right. See, so an unwanted day off for AP Indy and for Eddie Delahousse, who would have ridden him today. There is a live look at Arazi, the favorite at 6-5. On the subject of jockeys, well, Patrick Valenzuela knows every peak and every valley. He's been suspended on a couple of occasions because of drug-related instances. He's also known what it's like to be in the winner's circle here. He took Sunday Silence to a win in Kentucky in 1989, and he's in the jocks room with our Dave Johnson.
And Pat, how do you view this ride today? What's the opportunity for you?
Well, it's an opportunity to ride one of the greatest racehorses that ever lived, Dave. I feel Arazi can be one of the greatest racehorses that ever lived, so
You feel confident?
Very confident. I think I'll win the race if I get a clean trip, a good break. I think I have a hell of a shot.
Pat, how well do you get along with this animal? I understand he dumped you on the way to the track Thursday morning.
Did you have to tell everybody that day? Yes, he dumped me the other day coming to the track. He's a little bit ornery. He's a quick horse, and I was ready for him, and he still dumped me.
You drew a post position in the auxiliary gate. What about from 17? What's your game plan? Well,
my main concern is to get a clean break and just have a clean race, and hopefully my horse will do the rest.
You're from a racing family. Your father, several uncles, they're watching today.
Yes, my family's watching from Arcadia. I want to say hi to everybody at home, especially my daughter, Michelle, who made her Holy First Communion today, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but hopefully we'll win this race for you, Michelle.
Okay, back to you, Jim.
First Communion to Michelle. For the first time, by the way, the Derby will be seen today in Russia. Our pictures will be shown on live TV. It's well after midnight in Moscow, but an audience expected to number 60 million is listening to commentator Sergei Cheskidov, and yes, there will be Russian language commercials. They're referring to it in the usual cliches, a media circus, a press feeding frenzy. But the simple fact is that this Derby and the coming of Arazi has attracted more attention than any Derby in history. Our pictures are going to 17 countries, from Argentina to Britain, from the Dominican Republic to Dubai. World press are here by the score, all because of the little horse with the big reputation. They've come for the coronation of the king or a fall of an idol. They've come to see Arazi.
Chrysler Fifth Avenue at $22,000, the perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense.
Now get $1,500 cash back on Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
They ate the same lunch, got the same heartburn, but his antacid is very different. His Tums has calcium. Most antacids don't. Regular Rolaids uses an aluminum salt. This uses aluminum and magnesium. So does this. Of all these, only Tums helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium you need every day.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums. That's the one you want.
Your free trial pair of AccuView disposable contact lenses could be
love at first sight.
This is the lens of my life.
The comfort is irresistible.
I love the fact that I don't have to clean them.
And now Johnson & Johnson announces a lens-back guarantee. Try AccuView for 90 days. If they're not the most comfortable lenses you've worn, we'll replace your current lenses free.
It's better than love at first sight, because it's guaranteed to last.
Take me, I'm yours.
Ask your eye care professional if AccuView or SureView is right for you.
Your breakfast, sir. This new Kellogg's Frosted Bran is quite sensible. Crispy flakes with whole wheat and bran, lightly frosted for a taste that's delicious. I love it. I love it. 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 I love it. And new Kellogg's Frosted Bran has less sugar than you'd imagine, but the taste, it's out of...
We've got to stop serving this. New Kellogg's Frosted Bran, wildly delicious, sensibly good.
ABC's wide world of sports coverage of the Kentucky Derby. Brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, the division of the Chrysler Corporation. Proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team. By the Travelers, you're better off under the umbrella. And by Kellogg's, proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team.
Well, overhead on this warm, blustery, overcast day is the Goodyear blimp Spirit. New racing silks for the Spirit, blue and gold. Aren't they pretty? It's from Akron, Ohio, this ship, and is piloted by Jim Maloney. Now for another view on Arazi and the race, Jack Whitaker.
Thank you very much, Jim. If you're into anagrams, there's only one horse you can bet on in this Derby. Consider this. 100 years ago this week, the Kentucky Derby was won by a horse called Azra, A-Z-R-A. Just change a couple of letters and add an I, and you have Arazi, the horse that has dominated this Kentucky Derby of 1992 as no other horse before or since. He'll be carrying more than 126 pounds into that starting gate today. He won't know it, but with him goes all the weight of the European tradition of training horses, and that of his trainer, Francois Boutin. far different method than that practiced here in the United States. The Kentucky of France lies just outside Paris in a region dominated by a castle, whose owner, a cousin of the king, believed in reincarnation and was sure he would come back as a horse. This is the area that inspired the artist Degas in his paintings of horses. The light, the color, look exactly the same here as when he painted it years and years ago. Here the horses train on trails of deep sand that run through the woods, over ground ancient and beautiful. This is the racetrack at Chantilly, about 30 miles north of Paris. It's the home of the French Derby and the place where French royalty used to go racing. Today, it's the centerpiece of a 10-square-mile area where 3,000 thoroughbreds are in training. This year, of course, the most famous is Arazi. Although he was born in Kentucky, Arazi is now an expatriate, training near Chantilly with the famous and accomplished French horseman, Francois Boutin. 200 horses fill Boutin's 3 barns, and although many have been winning horses, this is his first Kentucky Derby contender. With a small gesture to his riders, Boutin trains his horses, never using a stopwatch to measure their progress, relying instead on memory and instinct.
I am against the stopwatch because the stopwatch prevents the trainer from being interested in his horses. Because this profession is a profession of observation. You have to watch your horses every day. You have to live with them. And if you always have this stopwatch, the only thing you watch is the stopwatch.
Morning training at Boutin's area near Chantilly is usually a quiet pursuit. Trainer and horses going about their work, there is little talk, much peace and serenity. But lately that has all changed. Now media from all over the world tromp through the quiet woods to glimpse for themselves the horse some call the greatest since Secretariat.
Arazi hits his best stride.
The excitement started last November at the Breeders' Cup when Arazi made an electrifying move on the final turn to beat the field by 5 lengths.
And Arazi runs right by him. Here indeed is a superstar.
But after that race, he underwent arthroscopic surgery as a precautionary measure, an undertaking that's always risky for a young horse, and returned to France to recuperate. The surgery left people wondering if Arazi would ever be the same again, if his last race was his best race. And then in early April, with Steve Coughlin aboard, the jockey who rode Affirm to the last Triple Crown in 1978, Arazi ran to another 5-length victory in his only prep race before the Derby. But doubts lingered and criticism abounded. Was just one race enough to get a horse ready for the Kentucky Derby? Most American trainers raise their eyebrows to record heights.
I have observed the Kentucky Derby for many years. I noticed that 2 of every 3 horses that are in the race are, in my opinion, totally past their ideal shape. I see them before the race, and the race is already practically over for them, because they are in terrible condition, run down.
Some media are criticizing Boutin's strategy, but Arazi's 2 owners agree. They are Alan Paulson, who sold 1/2 interest to Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum of Dubai. What they don't agree on is where Arazi will run if he does win the Derby. Paulson wants to try for the Triple Crown. The Sheikh wants to bring him back to Europe for the English Derby. Both say the decision will be made after today.
Let us wait and see how he come out of the Kentucky Derby, and then really sit with the trainer and Mr. Paulson and decide where he go from there.
We're, grown men, and both hopefully will do best. It's what's best for the horse.
It is the trainer Boutin, who has never won an English Derby, who will probably cast the deciding vote. And who would know better? Almost every morning for over a year, he has watched Arazi run with eyes as keen for horses as Degas were for light and color. Does it take more than a keen eye and one prep race on grass to get ready for the Kentucky Derby? Most American trainer says you're darn right it does. And should Arazi lose today, and he could be beaten by a better horse, he could get in traffic problems, all the hurly-burly of the Kentucky Derby could work against him. If he should lose, such a chorus of I told you so's will rise to make even the spires at Churchill Downs tremble. But if he should win and continue to be the darling of the racing public, then he would vigorously have vindicated Francois Boutin. American trainers would nod to his talent and go back to their stopwatches.
Right now, they are storming the betting windows to bet on Arazi. Just under $1 million, $986,000 at Churchill Downs has been bet on him to win. It's expected more money will be bet on him than any horse in Derby history.
More reliable than most, this umbrella. Those who carry the Travelers carry the choice of 50% of the Fortune 500 for property and casualty insurance that can help reduce claims and control costs. A full portfolio of pension fund investment options and one of America's largest healthcare networks. Open in case you want strength and experience the Traveler's way. You're better off under the umbrella.
O is goodbye. O is together. O is capturing our own history. O is the new Olympus Infinity Super Zoom 3000, the world's smallest, lightest, weatherproof zoom camera. It allows you to get close to some of life's most precious O's, like welcome home.
LeBaron convertible. Think of it as a Mercedes with a $78,000 rebate.
Now get $500 cash back on Chrysler LeBaron convertible.
This month, the Lake Edna Players present the Wild West Review, and it's a must-see. And for a must-eat, try new KFC Honey Barbecue Chicken. You're going to love it.
New KFC Honey Barbecue Chicken for a limited time in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
How many times I told my dad to see a doctor. He was stubborn. But the pain in his stomach just wouldn't go away. He had to go. You should have seen the relief on his face when the doctor said Mylanta. He said it was indigestion, and his kind of indigestion needed strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
I'm Brett Musburger, updating a story at the Woodlands TPC just outside of Houston. Fulton Allen, last year's winner, tapped in here for par on 18, and he will start the final round tomorrow, one shot behind Fred Funk, who fired a 62, the course record in the third round. We'll be on the air at 4 Eastern tomorrow.
Post-on is 40 minutes away. Let's look at the odds in order of betting preference. Arazi now has over $1 million bet on him to win. There he is in your picture live. He's the favorite. Technology 7-2. And then Pine Bluff is the third choice, and you can get 11-1 on him. Pistols and Roses off his Bluegrass victory is being held at 12-1. Lil E.T. at 15-1, up from Arkansas. Dr. Devious in from England at odds of 20-1. Then comes Conta de Savoia, second in the Bluegrass, 20-1. Devil is Due, the two-time New York victor, 20-1. Casual Eyes at 25-1. The Lucas entry, Al Sabine and Dance Floor, 30-1. And then the field of 7 horses. You like any of them, you get them all. They are being held at 11-1. One of the interesting sidebars to this race is that for the 6th time in history, a woman is saddling a horse for the Kentucky Derby, and she is with our Charlesy Canty. Charlesy?
A refreshing new face on the scene here during Derby week is Shelley Riley, whose Cinderella colt Casual Eyes has catapulted her from the outskirts of racing right downtown. And Shelley, tell me what this week has been like for you.
It's so exciting. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm absolutely breathless.
You had a setback with this colt last week. Tell us about that.
Well, he started eating the shavings, which he was bedded on, and he had a very severe allergic reaction to it. And we got him over that, and it was just a matter of whether he got to feeling better in time, mentally. And he has. He's really sharp.
This has also been your first exposure to European racing and their training techniques. What about Arazi?
Well, I watched him go to the track, and of course the earth moves on his way there because there's so many people. But he looks terrific. His coat's in gorgeous shape. The man obviously has done a tremendous job. He's a champion, and deservedly so.
Shelley, good luck to you. Shelley says she always cries during my old Kentucky home, but this week it'll be different. Al?
For certain. A lot of horses get to the Kentucky Derby, and they come from all price ranges. Ecstatic Ride costs just $3,200. Casualize, and I love it. Shelley Riley says, yeah, we paid $7,500 for him. Snappy Landing cost only $8,200. AP Indy, $2,900,000, and for that, he's in the barn today. Well, Arazi clearly the bettor's choice, but this is not a one-horse race. There are some other good contenders here. Technology wasn't even among the 389 original Kentucky Derby nominations. But after this easy win in the Florida Derby March 14th, his connections made him eligible. Jerry Bailey, who rode Hansel to victory in last year's Preakness in Belmont, rides for longtime trainer Sonny Hine, who saddles just his second Derby starter. Owner John Ed Anthony named his top prospect Pine Bluff, the Arkansas town in which his grandfather owned a lumber mill. This son of Danzig is a half-brother to Anthony's 1987 Kentucky Derby favorite Demons Be Gone, who bled on the backstretch and failed to finish. In the Arkansas Derby 2 weeks ago, Pine Bluff beat Lil E.T. by a neck, and the owner is hoping jockey Craig Perrette can help turn his Derby fortunes around.
We seem to have had more than our share of bad luck, and I can't help thinking that it'll all even out in time, so maybe some good luck will happen to us.
Pistols and Roses was a bargain, a $25,000 purchase who was named for the rock group Guns N' Roses. The Gray Colt spent his entire career in Florida before shipping north 3 weeks ago to win the Bluegrass Stakes. He represents the first Kentucky Derby starter for 32-year-old trainer George Giannos.
Give the devil his due.
Devil His Due has plenty of speed, which might give him some tactical advantage in this large field. He used that advantage impressively 2 weeks ago in the Wood Memorial. Hall of Fame trainer Alan Jerkins, who engineered 2 upsets of Triple Crown winner Secretariat years ago, will try to win the Derby with a horse who did not race once as a 2-year-old.
There hasn't been a Derby winner in a long time that hasn't won as a 2-year-old. In fact, I don't think in this century. But there's always a first time for everything.
Dr. Devious ships in from England and today makes his American debut. He's never gone more than a mile and finished second in the Craven Stakes at Newmarket 16 days ago. His new owners are Sid and Jenny Craig of Diet Center fame.
Diets don't work because nobody can stay on a diet forever. It's impossible.
As a birthday gift for her husband, Jenny Craig paid $2.5 million for the colt, who's trained by Hall of Famer Ron McAnally, and McAnally has enlisted Chris McCarron to ride Dr. Devious. Well, we mentioned before the post positions are different than the saddlecloth numbers, and they'll play a big part in early race strategy, and let's take a look at them now. Al Sabine breaks from the inside. Technology in a good spot, the 2-hole, and Snappy Landing, Casualize from 4. Fire from 5. Devil Is Due had no problems when he was picked 6th. Continuing on with Conte de Savoia, as you can see, Serpinder, Lily T, West by West, Pine Bluff, Ecstatic Ride, My Luck Runs North, and that's the main gate. Then they go to the auxiliary gate, 15 through 18, where you have Dr. Devious, then Dance Floor, then next to the outside spot is Arazi, followed by Disposal. Field of 18 instead of the 19 originally entered because of the scratch of AP Indy. Now, Dave Johnson, what about the contenders, their post positions, and how that will affect the early race strategy?
Well, Al, there's no one speedball that we know will go to the front, but there are 3 horses with excellent early foot. Devil Is Due, Pistols and Roses, and Dance Floor. Now, Devil Is Due and Pistols and Roses drew well. Dance Floor, way out there in the auxiliary gate, will have to be used hard early if he's going to get up there to get the lead, and then he would be compromised and wouldn't have as much strength in the stretch. Now, what about Arazi? I think they're going to take the ground loss and stay out of trouble, so look for him to be wide most of the trip.
So Pat Valenzuela may run him the same way that he did in the Breeders' Cup when he kept him out of traffic.
That's what they're looking for.
4 or 5 wide and brought him home. Well, a lot of celebrities are here. You know, Hammer likes dance floor. We'll see him later. But what about some of the others in the limelight in Louisville this week?
I pick Arazi because my good friend Alan Paulson owns him, and he's been running in derbies, and he hasn't won one yet, and this is his year.
Oh, take a long shot, and I'll say Pine Bluff because I like the name.
The French horse, Arazi. I think probably because I just came from France.
Well, I'm going to go with Arazi. He's got a Georgia owner, and we're trying to make this bring the successes of the Derby as close to Georgia as we can, and I feel very good about it.
Oh, he looked scarier 25 years ago.
Did I?
You looked scared.
I don't know. I thought I hit it well for an innocent girl.
You were innocent for the 60s.
Any regrets?
None. You?
Just one.
What?
That I waited 25 years to give you this.
The 25th anniversary diamond, a brilliant celebration of the loving marriage.
I've got goosebumps.
Well, you've given me goosebumps for 25 years.
I want to show you why my Dirt Devil is the world's best-selling corded hand vacuum. Okay, Sam. Now, the toughest test for any vacuum is pit hair. So I gave my Dirt Devil a strong motor and a revolving brush just like an upright. And if it's powerful enough to clean up this mess, imagine what it can do with a dirty carpet. You could say Dirt Devil is man's best friend. Well, almost. So get a Dirt Devil and put the power of an upright in the palm of your hand.
Have you had your V8 today? Did you know that V8 juice has fewer calories than that orange and 100% of the daily allowance of vitamin C?
Wow.
V8 is a nutritious blend of 8 vegetable juices that taste terrific. Have you had your V8 today?
Why do men rape women? You say no, it might as well be a yes. Peter Jennings reporting. Men, Sex, and Rape, Tuesday at 10, 9 Central.
What would you say if Pizza Hut gave you more of your favorite toppings? 25% more pepperoni. Piles of pepperoni. It's the new Pepperoni Lovers Pizza packed with 25% more pepperoni than before. One medium's $8.99 and any other medium's just $4 more. So if you're passionate for pepperoni, just perk up and say...
Delivery where available, limited delivery area.
We'd like to thank the editors of the car magazines for all the kind words they've said about the Lexus LS400. If they have any superlatives left, we suggest they review our special lease. See Betts Lexus Des Moines about our limited time special lease.
Exclusive ABC News interviews beginning Wednesday. ABC's wide world of sports coverage of the Kentucky Derby. Brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. Proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. By AT&T, the right choice. And by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows.
Now the tension really begins to build as the horses are on their way over from the stables to the paddock. There is Dance Floor, the horse of Hammer. He's a long shot, he and his stablemate, being held at 30-1. Last night, Hammer gave a concert here in Louisville. A tremendous crowd was on hand, gave his usual excellent performance. It was on behalf of a group called Harvest, which is hotels and restaurants that give their leftover food to the homeless. Hammer in Louisville. A big day for him and his family. Well, you know, I spoke at the opening about the tremendous variety in the backgrounds of the owners here today, from Middle Eastern sheikhs to American millionaires, well, to Hammer. You know, the Hammer you have seen is not the complete Hammer that we've come to know in recent months.
Right here, please. Right here. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Please, we got to take this picture. Hey. What's going on, man? Right here, please, ladies. Right here. Thank you.
My father always took us out to the racetrack since I was 3 years old, so I used to, tell him to bet my 50 cents on a horse back then, knowing that he wouldn't bet it, but he'd give me back $1.
All the fans see is the wealthy, glamorous figure on stage. But Hammer has paid his dues in the U.S. Navy and on the cheap nightclub circuit, and now he's having some fun with his brothers and his father. They're into racing with both feet and plan to stay in the sport for a long time. Their first big horse was the filly Light Light, winner of the Kentucky Oaks, and suddenly daily racing form was writing as much about Hammer as Variety was. When Light Light defeated Meadow Star later, the Burrells had the time of their lives. There was some grumbling in the establishment when Hammer took off his shirt, but by and large, press and establishment have given the family a very warm welcome to the sport.
The racing circles have been very, very open to us, very fair to us, very good. We appreciate the fact that they are treating us so, fairly with us being new in racing. And it hasn't been an issue of color at all at the races.
We're not coming into the business to try to change the tradition, the way that racing has always been, but as owners, we look to really take charge of our stables.
I have a thing about respect. It's always been an important thing in my life, and I've always taught my kids about respect. And the first thing I tell them about this is that respect is something that you earn. You don't demand it, you earn it.
We represent the guy who's worked all his life and, put his peanuts together and his pennies together and his marbles and came up with enough to trade in for, a good baseball card.
Baseball cards can be worth a lot of money these days. Just ask my grandson James. But so can 3-year-old colts like Dance Floor. He won the Fountain of Youth Stakes and looked like $1 million. So the Burrells came to the Florida Derby ready to go to the mutual windows, then cheer their horse to victory. It was not to be. Dance Floor bled in the race and finished a dull second. Still, the biggest Keeneland crowd ever came to see Dance Floor and Hammer at the Bluegrass Stakes.
Showtime! Showtime!
The Bluegrass was another disappointment. Dance Floor finished fourth behind Pistols and Roses and two long shots, Conte de Savoya and Ecstatic Ride. But the Burrells are horsemen, and good horsemen take their lumps and go on, in this case, to the Kentucky Derby.
We have to take the position now of being the spoiler. So, we're working hard, and Dance Floor will be prepared for the Derby.
Too legit to quit.
We win the Kentucky Derby, you'll see a dance. Guaranteed.
Well, there they are in the paddock, a new experience for this family, which is gaining more respect all the time in the sport of horse racing. Their rider today, well, it's Chris Antley. Like Pat Valenzuela, he's had his problems with drugs in the past. It's been a tough fight for him, but he won the Kentucky Derby last year with Strike the Gold, and he hopes to make it 2 in a row. Chris Antley, they're almost ready to come out. Yesterday, Derby jockeys Julie Crone, Pat Day, Shane Sellers, Gary Stevens, and Jerry Bailey, along with some other Churchill Downs riders, made their 4th annual visit to the Cosair Children's Hospital in downtown Louisville. They gave out goggles, autographed jockey cards, and photographs of last year's Derby winner, Strike the Gold, to the hospitalized children ranging in age from 7 months to 20 years. All of this organized by the Jockeys Guild, of which Jerry Bailey there is the president.
The medical facts are clear. Tylenol is so gentle on your stomach, doctors even recommend it to their ulcer patients for everyday aches and pains. They know Tylenol can't aggravate an ulcer the same way aspirin can. That's important for all of us to know. And so is this. Hospitals use Tylenol 23 times more than all aspirin brands combined. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
The Genuine Article is now on sale. The minivans that have outsold all others combined. Chrysler's first national minivan sale. Dodge Caravan, Plymouth Voyager, and Chrysler Town & Country now offer a $500 rebate, plus up to an additional $1,600 cash back on popular family options, like quad seating, anti-lock brakes, and built-in child seats. And right now, the Genuine Article Chrysler minivans are on sale. In the minivan business, you lead, follow, or get out of the way.
I've been working here since the day they opened this place. Over the years, I've met a great number of nice people. Some of them would drop a card at Christmas. Of course, the horses get more cards than we do. If you come to Kentucky and you miss the horse park, you haven't been to Kentucky.
For travel information during Kentucky's bicentennial celebration, call 1-800-225-TRIP.
Two songs are played at the Kentucky Derby every year. Each of them makes us think, each of them makes us
Ladies
proud.
and
It's
gentlemen,
time now for the national anthem.
Please rise to honor America with the playing of the national anthem, performed this afternoon by the 113th U.S. Army Band Dragoons from Fort Knox, Kentucky, directed by Chief Warrant Officer 3, James R. Kerfoot.
And Arazi, there's owner Alan Paulson, jockey Pat Valenzuela with his back to you. And Arazi, it was surprising that he left his stall some 40 minutes before post time. That's the trainer, the white-haired man that just went through. That was Boutin. A little bit earlier, the class of '92 in the Kentucky Derby. The riders who will be out there battling it out in just a matter of minutes now. There's Julie Crone. It's her first Kentucky Derby ride. This was a little bit earlier. Julie is the finest female jockey of all time and one of the best anywhere today.
Sports and Science Converge, brought to you by AT&T, sponsor of the '92 U.S. Olympic team. Thoroughbred horses put tremendous stress on their bodies every time they take the track. After the intense strain of a race or even following a tough workout, a horse's muscles can develop debilitating soreness. Now, a new treatment is helping to correct the problem at its source.
It's used in chronic muscle soreness that are unresponsive to anti-inflammatories, especially good in acute muscle spastic soreness.
RVI, or rubeola virus immunomodulator, is not a drug, but a biologic agent that stimulates the same kind of healing as extended rest. A horse with acute muscle inflammation has reduced flexibility, which could change his gait and result in more serious injury. RVI acts on the body's immune system to restore intercellular balance. And because it is not a drug, there are no side effects. The horse can return to the track rested, recovered, and ready to race.
If you're a small business that calls many of the same people each month, you can choose a calling plan designed just for you. Introducing the AT&T Partners in Business Plan. Make a list of the 20 numbers your business calls most. For everyone that's an AT&T customer, you'll get a 20% discount. AT&T Partners in Business. Choices, because one size does not fit all. Call us.
This is Andrea Schroeder, German Olympic wrestler. In an average week, he'll lift 40 tons of iron and run 5 miles almost straight up, all before practice. But if you think he's tough, wait till you see the guys at the ticket window if you don't have your Visa card. Because once again, the Olympics don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Sailing's greatest challenge is set. The United States defends its title as the finals of the America's Cup begin next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
We're back, and another look at the odds. Arazi is now odds on at 4-5. Technology 4-1. Pine Bluff, the third choice, at 10-1. Pistols and Roses at 12-1. Then Lil E.T. at 16. Conte de Savoia at 20. Dr. Devious at 21-1. Devil is Due at 21-1. Casual Eyes at 25-1. The entry, well, as far as dance floor is concerned, the crowd feels he is too illegit to bet. He is 30-1, and then comes the field, and they are 12-1. Let's go down to the paddock now, and here's Churchill.
Well, Jerry Bailey was in the enviable position of having the mount on both Technology and Pine Bluff. How'd you wind up on Technology?
Well, they kind of took the monkey off my back for me. Mr. Anthony and Mr. Bohannon made the choice. They chose Craig before I made up my mind, so I'm with Technology.
A lot of good speed from the gate?
Yeah, he does. He, barring any bad luck, he breaks and places himself well.
Jerry Bailey's looking for his first Derby, unlike Craig Perret, who notched his belt with Unbridled a few years ago. You're being reunited with Pine Bluff, a horse you had ridden before Jerry had the mount on him, and you too have got a good tactical speed. What do you think will happen?
You know, I think it's going to be a fun race. You know, we've heard all about Arazi, and maybe he is the super horse, but it looks like Jerry's horse and my horse, they got the good tactical speed to be kind of close to the pace, be free of trouble, and they're both horses making step forward, so they're always dangerous.
Well, I tell you, these are two tough American horses. Good luck to you both. We'll go back to Al.
Okay, Churchill, and I'm with Dave Johnson now. Let's first look at Arazi and your feelings about him, Dave.
He had won 6 of 7 in France before he came back to his homeland here. And, of course, he had 2 races since then. He had the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, in which he came from 14th and post position 14th to win by 5, and then a race on the turf in France where he won by 5. Is he the same? That's the question.
Well, he, of course, is the favorite, but there is Technology. Not only is he the second choice, Technology has more money on him to place than does Arazi right now.
Unknown 7 weeks ago. Here he is after back-to-back derbies in Florida.
Then we'll take a look at the horse up from Arkansas who won both the Rebel and the Oaklawn, and or the Arkansas Derby. We're talking about Pine Bluff, who has a chance.
And this horse was thrashed by Arazi in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile here. Pine Bluff finishing 7th, but he's matured over the winter. He's an outstanding 3-year-old. The only question is, what was the quality of horses he was beating in Arkansas? We'll find out.
We looked at Pine Bluff, and, well, in from England comes the deviously mysterious Dr. Devious, who's only run on grass to this point.
And he will be running late, but he has been training very well on the dirt track.
Speaking of deviousness, how about Devil His Due, a horse who a month ago looked like he'd have today off, and then 2 wins in New York, and here he is.
And he's trained by Alan Jerkins there in the gray coat, patting his colt on the neck. This man is known as the Giant Killer because he's engineered some great upsets in his thoroughbred racing career. He's upset Buckpasser and Kelso and Secretariat twice. This horse could be a factor.
All right, my friend, it is time for us to go to the betting windows. And
if Arazi wins by a city block, I won't be surprised if he runs like he did last fall. But if he doesn't, I'll take Devil Is Due because he's trained by Alan Jerkins. The best is yet to come. Who do you like?
I can't bet a 4-5 shot. Give me Pine Bluff. And, Mom, send money. Post time, 15 minutes away.
Oh, you're going in with the 2.
From the Far East to Europe. Across the Caribbean and throughout North America, only one airline covers so much of the world with so much warmth.
I'm not exactly known for being subtle, so I told Sprint the phone card had too many complicated numbers. Well, they fixed that. The new phone card has fewer numbers to dial, and the card number is even based on my home number. So now it's a lot easier to use. Of course, they'll probably say it was all their idea.
Have you had your V8 today? Did you know that V8 juice has fewer calories than that orange and 100% of the daily allowance of vitamin C?
Wow!
V8 is a nutritious blend of 8 vegetable juices that taste terrific. Have you had your V8 today?
This bench gets a professional finish with Krylon spray paint. No runs, no drips, no errors. Dries to the touch in minutes. The other brand's still tacky. Whoa! What a game.
Good game, Mr. Euchre.
He's a lot tougher than he looks. For a fast, smooth, professional finish, get Krylon.
Your breakfast, sir.
This new Kellogg's Frosted Bran is quite sensible. Crispy flakes with whole wheat and bran, lightly frosted for a taste that's delicious. I love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love it. And new Kellogg's Frosted Bran has less sugar than you'd imagine, but the taste, it's out of...
We've got to stop serving this. New Kellogg's Frosted Bran, wildly delicious, sensibly good.
This is a moment unique in all of sports. Riders Up has just been announced. They're on their way to the track for the Kentucky Derby. Casual Lies, when he won 2 races earlier this year, had an offer to be bought, but his trainer-owner, Shelley Riley, said no. It's like trading and selling a dream. That's the dream they're having right now. It's not the moment of truth right now, but it is the moment of the aspiration and hopes of all these owners and trainers who dare more than most.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join the University of Louisville Cardinal Marching Band, directed by David Tolberg, in Singing My Old Kentucky Home.
You, but it got me again, and this is my 18th year here. The post parade, and remember, these are not the post positions. Number 1 half of the Wayne Lucas entry is Al Sabine wearing the silks of Calumet Farm, the winningest owner in Derby history, saved from bankruptcy just 2 weeks ago by Henryk Kwiatkowski. 1A, the other half of the entry, Dance Floor, Hammer's Horse, Chris Antley trying for his 2nd straight Derby win. Let's go now to number 2, Technology, trained by former CIA man and veteran Maryland trainer Sonny Hine, Jerry Bailey aboard. Number 3 is Casual Lies, the $7,500 bargain colt with $1 million jockey today, Gary Stevens. Number 4 is Devil His Due. It may be time for trainer Alan Jerkins, the king of upsets, to upset the biggest race of them all. Here's Pistols and Roses next. Coming up, Pistols and Roses. Number 5, can jockey Jacinto Vasquez, winner of 2 derbies, come back in the twilight of his career to win another? Number 6 we'll be seeing, and speaking of upsets, what about Conte di Savoia? He was flying at the end of the Bluegrass. Trainer Leroy Jolly looks for his 3rd Derby triumph. On number 7 to Lil E.T. today, Pat Day has won everything Kentucky has to offer, almost. The winningest rider in Churchill Downs history. He's never won the Derby. Move to number 8, Pine Bluff, carrying the hopes of owner John Ed Anthony. Anthony has been to the well several times here, but never tasted the waters of victory. Number 9 is Dr. Devious, coming from England, running for Jenny Craig. He carries the hopes of dieters everywhere. Then there's number 10, AP Indy, who, as you know, has been scratched. So here, then, is number 11, The little horse the world has been waiting to see. This is Arazi on the day he must turn reputation into reality. Now the field horses. Bet one and you get them all. 12 is Snappy Landing. Always seems on the verge, but never quite gets it done. 13, Thaya, representing Ireland, and Sheikh Maktoum Al Maktoum, brother of the half-owner of Arazi. 14, Sir Pinder, who's done much of his racing at Calder in Florida. Randy Romero, the hard luck kid, on yet another comeback trail. 15, West by West, is trained by local Kentucky hard boot Rusty Arnold. 16, Ecstatic Ride, purchased for $3,200. This is his first Derby ride for the remarkable woman, Julie Crone. 17, My Luck Runs North, is an ex-claiming horse who's surprised by winning the Lexington Stakes at Keeneland. And finally, Disposal, number 18, who has run only 2 races in his life, rounds out the field. So there they are, the 18 horses running for the roses under cloudy skies on a pleasant enough day, a breeze coming. It's going to push them down the backstretch, Charlesy, but it'll be in their face coming down this long home stretch. Well, what do you think? I've been asking the same question in recent weeks. What's going to be the key to this race?
Well, the whole key is Arazi, and whether or not he is a wonder horse, a breakthrough legend like a Secretariat or a Man of War, a horse who can, come along and live up to that legend.
Capture everybody.
Yes, capture the whole thing. And if he is, then he will win. And if he does not, he will not be on the board. Now, we know Francois Boutin has him fit and he has him sound, but we don't know if he's mentally sharp enough. If he is mentally sharp enough, they'll have a very hard time beating him. But throughout his career, he's been a dazzling performer. Now he must be a fierce competitor. And this Derby field is not the small immature group he embarrassed here last November, but a bigger, tougher collection of work ethic veterans who'll take no prisoners. Today's field is nearly as large as the hordes of media that have pressured Arazi all week. So Lady Luck plays a very heavy role. And as we've seen before, the best horse does not always win the Kentucky Derby.
But who then is the best horse? Your pick.
In my heart, I want this for Arazi, but in reality, I feel an upset is coming. The American horses are too close for me to separate. I want Dr. Devious. I'm importing my choice.
Dr. Devious from England. I will take Arazi. I think he's going to win. Well, there's where it'll all end, the finish line at Churchill Downs. And believe me, it won't be long now.
LeBaron convertible. Think of it as a Mercedes with a $78,000 rebate.
Now get $500 cash back on Chrysler LeBaron convertible.
If you're a small business that calls one area code more than others, you can choose a calling plan designed just for you. Introducing the AT&T Partners in Business Plan. You can get a 20% discount on the area code you call most, automatically, even if your calling patterns change each month. AT&T Partners in Business. Choices, because one size does not fit all. Call us.
And now the stage is set as they move toward the top of the stretch, and Arazi runs right by him. Here indeed is a superstar. Arazi, absolutely brilliant to win it here by 5, and he could have won by 10 perhaps. Absolutely sensational.
Behind this umbrella stands an independent agent representing the travelers, your partner in insurance protection, providing you with insurance and investment expertise and a commitment to customer service, meeting individual and business needs with a customized package of products and services, open in case you want the team that delivers. The Travelers and its independent agents. You're better off under the umbrella.
Tomorrow, division leaders collide when the high-scoring Orlando Thunder rumbles into San Antonio to try and rough up the Riders. Or a royal rematch as the London Monarchs tackle the Knights. Then it's a Lone Star showdown as the PGA's best teed up in Texas. It's the final round of the Shell Houston Open. It's all tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Here's a final look now at the odds. Dance Floor and Al Sabine, the entry. Dance Floor has never been off at more than 7-2. The bettors have deserted him, 30-1. Technology clearly the second choice. In fact, has more money bet on him to place and to show than does Arazi. Casual Eyes has been holding steady all day at about 25-1. Devil Is Due is 21-1. Then comes Pistols and Roses at 13-1. Conte de Savoia at 21-1. Lily T at 16-1. The odds have been dropping a little bit of late on Pine Bluff, who's now 10-1. Dr. Devious has been holding steady at about 21-1, where he's at right now. AP Indy scratched. Arazi has gone from 4-5 to even money to 6-5, and now he's back to 4-5. And then comes the field. Any of those 7, if you like them, you get them all at 12-1. Again, the Chrysler Triple Crown bonus. Points at stake here for a victory. The horse who wins will pick up a total of 10 points. Second place worth 5. Third is 3. Fourth is 1. A horse must start and finish all 3 Triple Crown races. Accumulate the most points to win $1 million. If you can win all 3 races, that's $5 million. Some exactas. If you like Arazi but don't want to bet him straight, you put him in an exacta with Technology. 15.40 would be the payoff with Arazi on top. Pine Bluff would pay 26.20, and then if you put him in with the field, any of the 7 horses finish second to him, it would pay 135.40 for the entry and 31.80 for the field itself. So a chance to pick up some extra coin here on a day when a favorite's going to go off at odds on. And let's go back to Jim McKay.
All right, Al. Alan Paulson is in his box. Alan, you've had many great moments in your life from the time you first got your pilot's license until today. Where does this moment rank?
Well, I guess it has to be number 1 right at this moment.
Okay, we just want to wish you very good luck today. You don't know now, of course, whether the horse will go on to the Triple Crown or to the Epsom Derby, but I'm going to have to ask you that question after the race if he wins. So you better think about it, okay?
Okay, we've been thinking about it for a long time, Jim.
All right, we'll leave you to your thoughts, Alan, and all good luck. There is the horse, Arazi. Is he the super horse? Don't know. So he said he started over awfully early, started over 40 minutes before. He has never seen anything like the Paddock at Churchill Downs, nothing that crowded. He has never seen anything like 140,000 people gathered. He's never heard a song played and sung as they come out on the track, but so far he seems to be handling it pretty well. There you see the 2 starting gates. Remember, they have to use an auxiliary starting gate today, and the one way out of the picture now is where Arazi will be. It's time to go upstairs for the 118th running of the Kentucky Derby to Dave Johnson. Dave?
There is Al Sabine, who will be the first horse into the gate. A lot of trainers don't like it when horses are stuck in there while the rest of the field loads, so we're going to keep track of just exactly how long they are loading into this gate. Corey Nakatani, the rider. Post positions drawn by lot. Technology with Jerry Bailey. The only New York bred in the field is Dance Floor, but he's getting ready to move into line. Sonny Hine trains Technology, New Jersey bred for Dance Floor. Here is Snappy Landing. There's Casual Lies with Gary Stevens. Fire. They've already been in the gate about 30 seconds. Devil His Due. Watch for some early speed, Mike Smith.
Coming up.
The gray horse, Pistols and Roses, ridden by 2-time Kentucky Derby winner Jacinto Vasquez. Conte de Savoia.
Ramey, get up high on that horse. Ramey.
Serpinder, part of the field with the yellow blinkers. Pat Day, who has never won the Kentucky Derby, Lil E.T. West by West.
The horse coming up, down.
There's Pine Bluff. Craig Perret aboard. Craig Perret won the Derby with Unbridled. And here's Julie Crone, a winner of over 2,300 races. This is her first mount in the Kentucky Derby day. And in the starting gate, the early loaders for almost a minute and a half.
I got it, Jed.
Runs north. Dr. Devious. How will he do? Chris McCarron, the rider.
What do you think? What do you think? You gonna be all right?
Now into the auxiliary gate. Hammer's horse, Dance Floor. Antley who won the race last year with Strike to Go. There's Arazi. One more to go in, and it's disposal.
All right, come on.
All 3-year-olds all carry 126 pounds. And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. Lil E.T. broke sharply. Dance floor from the extreme outside charges up along with Disposal. Snappy Landing and Devil His Due right there with the early leaders, passing the stands for the first time. Snappy Landing on the inside has the lead. That's Devil His Due second. Casual Eyes up close in third. Along the inside, Al Sabine is fourth. Pine Bluff is 3 off the rail. Dance Floor 4 off the rail, and 6th as they round the clubhouse turn. Disposal is 7th. Then from between horses, that's Comte de Savoia racing in 8th position. Pistols and Roses is right there. Pistols and Roses moves up. Technology is next, followed by Thayer. After that, it's Lil E.T. The gray horse on the outside is a Static Ride. Now they straighten away down the backstretch. And Dance Floor on the outside takes the lead by a length. Snappy Landing is second, and Pine Bluff, just 2 off the leader, is racing third on the outside. Then comes Devil Is Due, Al Sabine at the rail, Casual Lies is 6th. On the outside, Pistols and Roses races 7th. Technology is 8th. Conte de Savoia moving through and finding room on the inside. Then comes Lil E.T. Arazi is now charging up in the middle of the racetrack. Arazi is flying, moving around the far turn. Dance Floor has the lead. Pine Bluff is second. Casual Eyes is third. And Arazi on the outside is gaining ground with every stride. Moving to the top of the stretch. Dance Floor leads it by 1. Casual Eyes in second by a head. Arazi on the outside. Now 3 of them tightly bunched as they turn for home. Dance Floor at the rail with a short lead. Arazi is next. Middle of the racetrack, Lil E.T. Here comes Casual Eyes putting in a run between horses. And down the stretch they come. Lil E.T. on the outside with Pat Day takes command. Casual Eyes is second and the others are dropping back. Coming through the stretch and to the wire. Lil E.T. on the outside has the lead by 1. Casual Eyes is second. Lil E.T. wins the Derby by 1 with Pat Day aboard. Casual Eyes second. 4 back it was Dance Floor. Then came Countess de Savoia, followed by Pine Bluff. Along the inside, Dr. Devious. Then it was Al Sabine, and finally Arazi, who made a bold move around the far turn, but didn't have it in the stretch. And the Derby, a slow one, 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
An extremely slow Kentucky Derby, but Lil E.T., the surprise unofficial winner. Lil E.T. bringing Pat Day at long last his first Kentucky Derby win. The winningest trainer in Churchill Downs history. He's won everything here. Now there, Lil E.T. Now here is Arazi. Charlesy, does he look all right?
He seems to have pulled up all right, Jim. It was a long, difficult trip for him, a long, hard week. The pressure seemed to get to him. It appears his wings were made of gossamer. Sad to see a legend fall, but it was not to be for him.
Dance Floor, Hammer's horse, was third in the race. Second was Casual Lies, the $7,500 purchase of Shelley Riley. Pat, congratulations on your first Kentucky Derby win.
Thank you. Praise Jesus. Hallelujah. Now I'm going to say it again. I've said it numerous times, running second, what have you. Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those that love Jesus and are called according to his purpose. Thank you, Jesus. All in God's good time.
You said it all, Pat. Pat Day has won his first Kentucky Derby. What about Lil E.T.? Well, he's a colt that in 9 starts has never finished out of the money. His owner is 82-year-old Cal Partee. Now let's take a look at this from the 3/8 pole, Charlesy.
First of all, they were walking. Every foot of the way, they were walking. And here was Dance Floor. He had the best of it. He's on the lead. He set the fractions. He simply cannot get this distance. Now, in behind him, there's Dance Floor. Arazi has swept around the outside of the field. He gave it his every bit, and there is great brilliance there, but this was too much of a task. As they come for home, Dance Floor hangs on gamely. There's Lil E.T. on the outside in the shadow on the left of your screen making his move. He kind of wove through the stretch a bit. He might have brushed against Arazi, but he has dead aim on Casual Eyes, who must have been giving Shelley Riley the thrill of her life right here. looking like a Derby winner, but caught on the outside by Little E.T. Pair of tough, hard-knocking American horses. Now, these horses have come along, developed late, and they're solid horses.
No question about it, and second place is still pretty good for that $7,500 horse of Shelley Riley's. But there's the winner, Lil E.T. Crowd cheering for the winner coming back, and here's the jockey's reaction. That day. What about Alan Paulson and his wife Madeline? A terrible, crushing disappointment. But that is the sport of racing, believe me. Well, the crowd's still here, trying to absorb this. Remember, it is unofficial. Lily T, Casualized Dance Bar will be back with the official and the prices and much more.
The Triple Crown continues with the Preakness Stakes, May 16th on ABC Sports.
Luxurious new Chrysler LeBaron series starting at under $14,000. The perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense.
Now get $1,000 cash back on Chrysler LeBaron sedan, the best value in its class.
With service to more cities across the Atlantic than any other U.S. airline, Delta now makes it easier than ever for the people of America to get to know the people of Europe.
Buongiorno.
Bonjour.
Sia.
Guten Tag. Grüezi.
AT&T Reach Out America customers will soon hear 40% more laughter. Their memories will be 40% brighter. And their smiles will be 40% warmer. Because calls made from 5 to 10 p.m. on your June bill will be 40% less than AT&T standard rates for customers with an evening discount. 40% off on calls to everyone. And 40% less means 40% more to share.
You must travel back in time 1 billion years to witness its birth. You will search in vain for a more enduring or brilliant creation. You can comb the world and never find one the same. It is rare. It is precious. It is love. And its only promise is forever.
Aquarus, coffee spray, power thrust, turned empty. Kawasaki is where I wanna be.
Introducing the hottest two-seater watercraft on the water, the Kawasaki Jet Ski Super Sport. With a sleek V hull and a powerful 750 engine, the Super Sport is where you wanna be.
Kawasaki, that's a good time to Kawasaki.
I've been working here since the day they opened this place. Over the years, I've met a great number of nice people. Some of them would drop a card at Christmas. Of course, the horses get more cards than we do. If you come to Kentucky and you miss the horse park, you haven't been to Kentucky.
For travel information during Kentucky's bicentennial celebration, call 1-800-225-TRIP.
We're back now at Churchill Downs. A stunning upset. Lil E.T. winning it at odds of 16-1 and paying $35.60. Lil E.T. with Pat Day Up winning the Kentucky Derby. Patrick Valenzuela, who was aboard Arazi, must have had a sense, though, of deja vu as his horse began to turn for home. It looked very similar to the move that Arazi made in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Pat is with us downstairs. Pat, as you take a look at the monitor, and Arazi did begin to make his move, did you feel at that point that you would win the race?
Well, as soon as Arazi started moving, he was moving well within himself.
I never had asked him to really move. Right here on the monitor, you can see he's running well in hand, and he started moving all on his own. I pulled a pair of goggles down there, and he just started picking up horses left and right all by himself. And I never moved on him until the quarter pole, and when I did that, he was trying to get out at the time, and just got a little weak the last eighth of a mile. I'm sorry we couldn't have got another race into him before this race. I didn't do anything different than I did in the Breeders' Cup. I just sat on him until I had to move him. Right here, he's picking up horses left and right like he's just going to cruise home. And the only excuse I could say for the horse is he might have got a little bit tired the last part.
Was your strategy, Patrick, no matter what happened, to stay outside and stay out of trouble and prevent having to weave through the field?
Well, that's what the owners and the trainers preferred. We knew we had the best horse, and I preferred to be out anyways in the clear. And when I was out there, he was moving well. I just, like I said, he was trying to get out, and maybe the last eighth of a mile, he got a little bit tired. I'm sorry he couldn't have proved himself today because I know he's the great horse that we all think he is. And I'm happy for Pat Day and the crew of Lily T, but I'm very disappointed that we didn't win the race because I know I was on the best horse.
This sport never ceases to amaze. Thank you for joining us, Patrick.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Patrick Valenzuela aboard Arazi, but of course there is the man of the moment, Pat Day, a long-time top rider at Churchill Downs, Lil E.T. And you talk about lighting up the board, 35.60, 12.60, and 7.60. Casual Eyes pays $22 to place. He went off at about 25 to 1 and 11.60 to show. Dance floor part of the entry at 12.80. If you had that 7.3 exacta, your $2 is now worth $854.40. Let's go back to take a look at the start, Dave Johnson. And I noticed in your call, in your live call, you talked about the good start he got off to right away.
Here is Lil E.T. on the right of your screen in the orange cap, and you will see that Pat Day hustles him right out. That's West by West in the yellow cap alongside. He got the first call out of the gate. Pat Day wanted some position, but then this was classic Day. He took back and got some position, and a little bit of bumping there to the left of Pat. And then here comes Dance Floor. Antley decided to go. Mike Smith decided to go. And into the first turn, Snappy Landing, who got his reputation as being a come-from-behind horse in the bright green blinkers toward the inside, is going to take him into the first quarter. That's Devil Is Due between horses, and Dance Floor on the outside, who had that very bad post position in the auxiliary gate, is 4 off the rail. He just could not get to the front. Snappy Landing is going to drop back. Dance Floor is going to put in a tremendous middle half here.
Now we're going to take it to the top of the stretch at a point when it appears Arazi is going to lap the field, but there he is, second from the left, and here comes Lil E.T.
Lil E.T. Lil E.T. gaining ground with every stride. Arazi, that simply sudden move, he must have put a scare into everybody, but the meltdown had already started. Pat Day with a strong ride. Dance Floor with the checkered cap toward the inside. Casual Eyes and Gary Stevens with a strong hand, and now a strong whip on the outside. Here comes Pat Day. And Lil E.T. up to win it. Day said he had a Derby with his name on it, and 1992 was the date.
Who would have believed it? They went the 6 furlongs in 1:12 and 1, the mile in 1:37 and 3, and finished in 2:04 for the mile and a quarter.
Very, very slow final quarter, 26 and 2. They were walking at the finish.
Final order of finish now in this huge field. Lil E.T. wins it by a length over Casual Eyes, who proved today he's for real. He'd been a big star in Northern California. Dance Floor finishes third. Then Conte de Savoia, the Leroy Jolly entrant, finishing fourth. Pine Bluff, Al Sabine, Dr. Devious. Arazi winds up 8th. And we mentioned before, as you look at My Luck Runs North and Technology, the last 12 runners or favorites of the Derby coming into today's Derby had finished an average of 9th. And there they are, the rest of them. You see Serpender and Pistols and Roses, Snappy Landing and Disposal finished last, 27 lengths back. Let's go down to Charleston.
Are you able to, have you been able to see your horse and understand what has happened?
Est-ce que vous avez eu la possibilité de voir ce qui est arrivé au cheval au cours de la course?
Moi, je pense que mon cheval, il est couru un peu frais. On a voulu faire trop bien les choses. Nous n'avions pas le temps, nous étions trop pris par le temps. Donc, il a couru cette course avec trop de fraîcheur. Il était trop brillant tout le parcours et il est arrivé un peu ce qu'il a fait le jour de ses débuts. Il s'est complètement asphyxié. Et après, dès l'instant où j'ai vu passer la première fois devant les tribunes, je savais que la course était perdue parce qu'il était trop brillant, trop allant. Il a dû refaire trop de chemin en très peu de temps. Et j'ai su que dans les derniers tournants, la course était perdue.
Mr. Boutin said that the horse was really too brilliant, and because being certainly too fresh, he couldn't really run very easily as he should have done, in the past. And as a result, he knew that when first time he ran in front of the winners' tribune, the race was absolutely lost for him.
Could you quickly get a response from Francois as to whether or not he is going to remain here or go on home to the Epsom Derby?
On vous demande si vous allez rentrer chez vous tout de suite ou si vous allez rester quelque temps ici.
Moi, en ce qui me concerne, moi, je vais rentrer chez moi tout de suite.
Et he thinks that he's going to go home immediately.
Well, we're sorry he didn't have a better time in this country, and please come back soon.
Je pense qu'elle est un peu émue que vous n'ayez pas eu plus de succès et elle vous souhaite plus de chance la prochaine fois.
Non, mais ça, c'est les courses. C'est mon travail, c'est mon métier. Je pense que la prochaine fois, peut-être l'année prochaine, je viens.
Merci bien. And we'll go back to Jim McKay now. Merci.
Okay, so not much of a day in France, but a wonderful day many places in the United States, including Pennsylvania, the first Pennsylvania bred ever to win the Derby. There are the prices, tremendous.
The Travelers presents great Triple Crown finishes, brought to you by the Travelers. You're better off under the umbrella. At the start of the 1990 Kentucky Derby, Unbridled's owner Francis Genther and trainer Carl Nabsco watched on. At the half-mile pole, the 10-to-1 shot was already 12th in a field of 15 horses. With jockey Craig Perret aboard, Unbridled began his long travel, finally overcoming the leader Summer Squaw at the top of the stretch, capturing the 116th Kentucky Derby. Another great Triple Crown finish.
Stronger than most, this umbrella. Those who carry the Travelers for their insurance needs carry a solid 128-year tradition of excellence. Chosen by 50% of the Fortune 500. Backed by $53 billion in assets. Open in case you want strength and experience the Traveler's way. You're better off under the umbrella.
Sunday.
You've got to come back with me. Where? Back to the future.
They're back. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future 2 Sunday.
We'd like to thank the editors of the car magazines for all the kind words they've said about the Lexus LS400. If they have any superlatives left, we suggest they review our special lease. See Betts Lexus Des Moines about our limited time special lease.
Palace is full. We're moving to Gianni's.
Gianni's? I got it.
Gianni's is busy, but we're heading to the Manhattan.
Okay.
Betsy, tonight, if you need to reach us, just call our People Beeper.
The People Beeper homepager. Beepers aren't just for business anymore. Stop by or call the Beeper people at Electronic Engineering. They'll show you how easy it is to keep in touch.
You're watching Channel 5.
ABC's wide world of sports coverage of the Kentucky Derby continues.
The long years of hoping are over. This is the moment of victory. First of all, the president of Churchill Downs, who has done the usual magnificent job of pulling this thing together for 140,000 and more people. Tom Meeker.
Another great day for Kentucky and another great day for racing. You know, the Derby's full of surprises, and today we had another surprise, but it's a wonderful surprise for all of us at Churchill Downs. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our governor, our horseman governor, Governor Burton C. Jones.
Thank you, Tom. On behalf of all of the people of the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, I want to present this Kentucky Derby trophy to perhaps the finest gentleman I've ever known in my entire life. A great horseman, a great human being, Mr. Cal Partee.
Why don't you take a hold of that, Mr. Partee? Just the top part. You were oath for 3 in the Derby. I guess for 20 or 30 years you must have been rehearsing this speech.
No.
What do you have to say?
No, I just said I'm just thankful for the horse and thankful that I'll be able to have the rider, Pat Day, the trainer, everyone concerned, my family and all. It's hard to appreciate it.
Enjoy every second of it, Cal. You've earned it. And by the way, the sire of this Kentucky Derby winner at the threshold stands at the governor's farm. We got a whole family deal going here.
Absolutely.
Where's Lynn Whiting? Lynn, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, Jim.
When Arazi came at your horse, what did you think?
Well, Pat's the type of rider that sits and takes a little hold, and, but I was just concerned that this colt, after he got squeezed, he just didn't get discouraged. By the stands the first time, some horses were trying to find a position, and they kind of just forced him back, and I just was a little concerned about that, whether it might have taken a run out of him. But Pat saved his horse when he called on him. He moved with authority.
Terrific. One quick question. Where is he going to be 2 weeks from today?
Well, we're going to have to take a long, hard look at Pimlico, but the horse will answer the questions. But if he gets back to the barn in good order, that's our primary concern right now.
Possibly to the $5 million at the end of the trail. We'll see. Congratulations again to you and to you, Mr. Partee. And thank you very much, Governor. In a minute, we'll be coming back with another presentation, a car to the winning jockey, and we'll review the race again with Pat Day. So stay with us. We're still at Churchill Downs.
I'm paid to buy the high-volume copies. I don't want to have to worry about them.
The corporate line from Canon.
It's simple. If our copiers are working, our people are working.
High-volume copying systems so reliable, you don't have to think about them.
All I want to know is it keeps copying, sorting, stapling. End of story.
The corporate line from Canon, the #1 copier company, and the new power in high-volume copying. For those whose romance with the road is rekindled with each sunrise, beautiful mornings begin at 8. Super 8 Motels. 1-800-800-8000.
Hi. You know why Quaker State asked me to be their spokesman? Because I'm tough. Quaker State is tough. Tough on wear and tough on sludge. If you use Quaker State in your new car's engine, they'll guarantee it for 250,000 miles or 10 years in writing. Quaker State is one tough motor oil. So naturally they asked me because I'm tough. You don't think it's because they think I'm oily?
Nature's masterpiece. In over 100 years, only 11 thoroughbreds have won the Triple Crown. From Sir Barton to the great rivalry between Affirmed and Aladar. Their compelling story, written and narrated by Jim McKay, is chronicled in a collector's home video. The Jewels of the Triple Crown. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR for this historic treasury filled with rare and exclusive footage of these legendary champions. Only $19.98 plus $3 shipping.
Next Saturday, it's high speed at the Brickyard and pure drama on the high seas. First top Indy car drivers race for the coveted pole position as the Indianapolis 500 time trials begin. Then, on an early edition of ABC's Wide World of Sports, the United States defends its title as the finals of the America's Cup set sail. It's all next Saturday on ABC Sports.
You know, horse racing is really an unsentimental sport filled with sentimental people. And the disappointment in Arazi's defeat today is large because everyone was looking for a new superstar. But the brilliance is still there, and I think we'll hear from him again. In the meantime, the Derby is the Derby and has produced another great Cinderella story. A 16-to-1 shot, a $25,000 purchaser, and a jockey named Pat Day who loves this track but was 0 for 9 in the Kentucky Derby until today. One can look down and see Casual Lies and Lily T probably fighting it out for the Triple Crown. Arazi goes to Epsom and wins, and they both meet back here at the Breeders' Cup. But there we go again. Sentimental people. in an unsentimental sport. Jim?
All right, there's the Goodyear blimp, but here are the bonus points. Lil E.T. has earned 10 points, Casual Lies 5, Dance Floor 3, Conte di Savoia 1. Now, should Lil E.T. go on to sweep the Triple Crown, of course, he is guaranteed a total of $5 million. At the end of the trail, there will be at least a $1 million bonus for the horse who has accumulated the most points. Now we have Steve Torek, General Manager of the Chrysler Division of the Chrysler Motor Company, for another presentation. Steve?
Thanks. Pat, congratulations on your first Derby win. On behalf of Chrysler Corporation, our dealers, I'd like to present you with the keys to our newest car. It will be available this fall, 1993 Chrysler Concorde.
Brand new deal.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I was just thinking about this car, and Jerry Bailey was most generous last year after the Preakness to donate the car to the Disabled Jockeys Fund. I want to keep the car. It's got a very sentimental value to me, but I'm going to donate the value of the car to the Disabled Jockeys Fund.
Speaking of that, and speaking of things that jockeys do, Pat, I see this cap you're wearing is for the Cozart Children's Hospital. You were there yesterday, and here you are talking to a young man named Todd. What did you tell him?
Well, he saw me wearing this cap, and I told him, I said, I'm going to wear this in the winner's circle after the Derby for you tomorrow. And so this is for you, Todd, and for all the children at the Cozart Children's Hospital. You folks want to do your heart a good thing, go down there and see them kids. I tell you what, they're beautiful.
What about Arazi? What happened to the horse?
I really don't know what happened to Arazi, Jim. He went by me, looked like with complete authority going the half-mile pole.
Look at this. This is the moment when Arazi passed you. What did you think right now?
Well, he went by me on dance floor last fall in a Breeders' Cup kind of the same way. And at that point, I tried to go with him for a little ways. He had too much of a kick on me. So I just waited till he went by and then got out and followed him. And, you know, it looked like he just didn't have any punch when he come to the head of the stretch, and my horse is full of run.
But it looked like he was running exactly the same kind of race he ran in the Breeders' Cup. Did you think you were done for a moment?
Well, I knew I wasn't done, but it would appear that had he kept running the way that he did in the Breeders' Cup, that I was running for second money. But a couple of years ago, Unbridled won this race, and I said I couldn't understand why I got beat on Summer Squall until I saw Mrs. Ginter, and I said that's the reason why. She's been in the game a long time and deserved to win. Today, Mr. Partee, it's your turn, and I congratulate you very much. Mr. Whiting done a fabulous job. He's told me all along that he had the utmost confidence in this colt. He had a good feeling about him. He's been training well. He's in very capable hands. My congratulations to Lenny, and thanks for letting me be a part of this tremendous
team. And a man who
team.
deserved it very, very much is Pat Day. Thank you, Pat. It's on to the Preakness in 2 weeks, and then the Belmont Stakes. Can Lil E.T. sweep the Triple Crown? We'll find out.
Now, except on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news and world news Saturday over most of these ABC stations. ABC's wide world of sports coverage of the Kentucky Derby has been brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. Proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. By the Travelers, you're better off under the umbrella. And by the 25th Anniversary Diamond, a brilliant celebration of the loving marriage. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Promotional fee has been paid to ABC by United Airlines. Come fly the friendly skies.
Saturday.
I gotta come up with an act for the talent show.
Ooh, so we sold it.
I guess that's kind of funny.
Ta-da! Wow.
You should sing at the talent show.
An all-new commish, Saturday. Sunday's got
Things that make you go.
Things that make you go. America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by America's Funniest People from Florida.
Things that make you go.
Sunday.
Coming up next on the Channel 5 News, partying turns violent overnight at Iowa State, disrupting the Visha celebration.
There was some positive celebration going on. Thomas Sutherland presided over the Visha festivities today. We'll see how he spent the day.
We'll have a live report from Campus Town and more of the day's news coming up.
Ford trucks are #1 for the 6th year in a row, and to say thanks, your Ford dealers are giving you Truck Month. 30 days of the biggest savings of the year on every Ford truck, van, and sport utility in stock. Save on the full-size Ford F-150, built right here in Kansas City. During Truck Month, pay just $10,877, or choose the best-selling Ford Ranger, loaded with all this and Truck Month priced at only $90.85. But Truck Month is only during May, so hurry while the selection is still great.
Just say no. Say no to costly roof replacement and disposal costs. The secret weapon of roofing professionals for over 20 years, Master's Choice can now save you hundreds to thousands of dollars on your shingle, tile, metal, and flat roofs. With just a roller, anyone can easily apply our industrial-grade, waterproof, seamless rubber roofing directly over your old tired roof. 7 colors, water cleanup, and a 10-year warranty. The leak stops here with Master's Choice.
Master's Choice quality roofing and waterproofing products are in stock now at your lumber dealer and home centers.
You're watching Channel 5. And now, with news, weather, and sports in the first 10 minutes, Steve Karsgen, Paul Longo, meteorologist Dave Rexroth, and Rod Botholt with sports. This is the Channel 5 News 5 o'clock report.
Iowa State's campus town became a battleground overnight. Ames police donned riot gear to put down a student Visha celebration that got out of hand. Good afternoon.
Well, before last night's riot was all over, a dozen people were injured and 22 were arrested. Witnesses compared the mayhem to the recent riots in L.A., but police are downplaying any racial motivation for the riot. Instead, they blame a combination of alcohol and stupidity. Roger Riley has the first of our reports.
The disturbance began around 12:20 this morning as Welch Avenue was choked with some 8,000 people. Police called them drunken partiers who flooded the campus town area in Ames. Shortly after 1:30, police in riot gear moved in to separate the crowd. At least 8 people were reported injured, and there were numerous arrests. Several businesses had windows broken out. Cars were rolled and damaged as people were looking for something to break.
It started just a drunken stupidity. Once it got going, there was some very serious fights within the crowd, and those were black against white. So I'm sure that had some playback because of Los Angeles, but that isn't what started it.
All the people were doing was having a good time. There was no problem. They weren't lighting any fires. I was up here 4 years ago, and it's nothing like this.
4 years ago, riots disrupted the Visha celebration. This riot this morning was larger and more violent as police used numerous canisters of tear gas to dispel the crowd.
Look at this crowd just flurry. Gas. You can see a few of them running from the riot, a few of them just walking casual like nothing's happened. Can you believe this would hit Ames, Iowa?
The police moved in to divide the crowd, playing sort of a waiting game. It's now almost 3 a.m. and everybody's still hanging around. ISU football coach Jim Walden was called upon at the riots 4 years ago. This morning he came back to call for calm again.
With all that's going on in L.A. and across the country, and you know, I won't say that it gives anybody any excuses, but it does get people upset, and there's a lot of people upset with what happened, and we all are, but I don't think that you can, we don't want to give Visha a bad name.
A total of 90 police officers were on the scene from the city, county, and state patrol. It took them 3 hours to put down the disturbance. When it was all said and done, 8 were seriously injured and 30 people were treated and released at a local hospital. Roger Riley, Channel 5 News.
ISU students, many of whom witnessed last night's rioting, have some ideas of their own about how the violence started in Ames streets. Channel 5's Sonia Heitsusen tells us some of the students believe the uprising may have started with a fight between whites and blacks.
Students celebrating the Visha weekend said the rioting began when large numbers of people shut down Lincoln Way and Welch Avenue, 2 of the main thoroughfares through campus town.
People started running across the street to stop on the traffic, and they started running in big groups, and pretty soon they had the whole road blocked off, and the cops were trying to stop them.
None of the bystanders seemed to know exactly what set off the riots, but several said they believed it may have been racially motivated.
I don't know what started it, but it was a few black guys and a few white guys. I don't know if that was the racial or nothing, but it started that way, and then people just went wild.
I was there, and it started out as a party and turned into a fight. That's basically, I don't know what was the impetus. I don't know what event started it, but it turned into a fight, and it was. I'm sure that it was based on race.
Students also expressed doubts as to whether the Visha tradition will continue after 2 violent episodes. What do you think this means for Visha?
See ya. I wouldn't expect it next year.
That question remains to be answered by city and university officials. In Ames, Sonia Heidt-Susan, Channel 5 News.
This afternoon, ISU President Martin Jischke reacted to the violence by saying it could jeopardize future Visha celebrations.
Jischke told students he doesn't want to see a repeat of last night's violence or destruction to campus town. Alan Earlis joins us live from Welch Avenue, where merchants have been cleaning up the damage. Alan, is everything back to normal?
Well, Steve, pretty much everything is back to normal. Actually, there's very little damage down here. Aside from a couple of broken windows, you can't even really tell that there was a riot down here last night. There wasn't a lot of debris that needed to be swept up. People who work in campus town didn't think it was much different than any other Saturday morning.
It wasn't too bad. We had just a little bit of garbage in the front of the building. It wasn't too bad.
This shattered window was the most severe damage. We found one other broken window down the street, and this storefront sign was nearly torn down. Broken glass and other debris litter other areas. Was the rioting race-related? One bar owner says no.
I saw some different racial incidents, but I really don't think the King problem in Los Angeles had a lot to do with it.
Iowa State President Martin Jischke, Ames Mayor Larry Curtis, Visha and student body representatives don't think it was racially motivated either.
For the most part, the incident that happened last night should not be in any way connected with the LA riots.
We're very concerned that this can get out of hand again tonight. We don't want that to happen. We're bringing all of the resources we have to bear at the university. You'll hear from the city and the students. We're trying to cooperate as much as possible to see that this doesn't happen. But the situation is very disturbing to me.
Several precautions are being taken by ISU officials and Ames authorities. Police have been calling to several different liquor establishments today. They're asking that no alcohol be sold or served after 8 o'clock tonight, requesting that everyone stay away from campus town off of Welch Avenue and Lincoln Way this evening. Also asking parents of Ames teenagers to keep their teenagers at home tonight. A curfew was considered, but Ames Mayor Larry Curtis said that that drastic of a measure was not needed. Martin Jischke said if there is more violence tonight, that it very seriously threatens any future Visha celebration. So you can be rest assured they'll be keeping a very close eye on the activities down here in campus town tonight and also in the rest of Ames. Steve, Pauletta?
Okay, Alan, keeping our fingers crossed. No repeat of last night. Thank you very much.
Well, protesters tried to call attention to the racial strife in L.A. by carrying signs in today's Visha parade. Between 100 and 150 demonstrators carried placards saying, "Educate the police, end racism, and fight the power." The crowd reacted by clapping for the protesters. And a smaller group of protesters gathered at Beardshire Hall on the ISU campus for another demonstration against racism. Their speaker said justice was not served with the release of the LA police officers who beat Rodney King. They called for an end to racism. Both protests were peaceful.
Waterloo experienced its own share of violence overnight. Police there kept busy in the early morning hours, breaking up disturbances touched off by a group of youths. They pelted cars and police cruisers with rocks, but no one was injured, and there are no reports of major damage. Police officials aren't sure how many kids were throwing rocks, but they say 50 to 75 people were in the immediate area of the violence. Authorities don't know if the incident had any connection to the rioting in Los Angeles.
Well, Dave Rexroth has our first look at the weather today. Basically, Dave, it was windy, but still a nice day.
Yeah, if you could stand the wind, it really wasn't too bad, Steve. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow is going to be even better. Winds are going to be diminishing. But right now, still, lots of sunshine around. 74 degrees in Des Moines, a little warmer in Ames, 76 degrees there. Winds are strong this evening out of the northwest, 18 gusting over 20 miles per hour, though. The relative humidity, though, 17%, very dry out there. And the pressure, 30.06 inches, and it is holding steady. In terms of the planner then, prime time tonight, clear sky still, and that's obviously not the right temperature. Not 39, but it'll be close to 63 degrees for prime time, and then overnight dropping down to a low of 46, and the winds will be diminishing. I'll be back in just a few minutes to let you know what the rest of the weekend looks like, and into the early part of next week, looks like we'll still have some sunshine.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Well, a surprise victory today in the Run for the Roses.
Yeah, first leg of the Triple Crown, and once again the favorite was not the winner. Arazi was supposed to be the class of the Derby field, but after a kick coming out of the final turn, he faded to the middle of the pack for an 8th place finish. Down the stretch, it was Lil E.T. coming to the front and taking charge. No one will catch number 7, ridden by Pat Day. It's Day's first Derby win. We'll have today's NBA playoff action later in sports.
And coming up next, we'll take a look at the 1992 Visha Parade.
And Thomas Sutherland was enjoying his day as Grand Marshal. We'll have more after this break.
When you buy your waterbed from Big Sur